of the Ancient Illumination series in the Umbani Chronicles. And we are joined once again. We have Andrea Rose Washington back.
Hi.
She is the author of Adlithia, A Lendo and Almond Trees Magic. And she's working on a few sequels, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we are also joined by Jocelyn Short.
Yo.
She's a concept artist and illustrator, and she is the creator of Bears. We're waiting for that to release. And we are also joined by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He's the creator of Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reformation, Growing in the Garden, and he also is the illustrator on the Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as Umbani Chronicles comic series. And we are here today. Now we got the whole crew back together to talk about Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. Today we are discussing episode 5. So if you have not watched at least that far, spoiler alert, go watch them 5 episodes and then come back to us. It's streaming right now on Apple TV and it's called The Way Out. So I'm just going to give my little breakdown and then we'll discuss. We start here in 2015 again. The gang has been caught and they're at a compound in the Monarch Command Center in some post in Alaska. Everyone is fake putting up a strong front. Looks like May's cover may be blown. What did you guys think as they're sitting in these little fake ass jail cells, basically, with the cameras on them?
I was confused at first. I was like, did I miss an episode? I was like, why are we in jail? I thought.
And they kind of did a weird jump cut on it. They like saw them, they like pulled up on them with a helicopter, and boom, in jail.
Yeah.
Like, do you have the right to have me locked up? Excuse me. Like, what? If you don't exist, you can't do this. If you don't exist, you must have quit. Let me go.
Well, in their mind, they're probably like, well, nobody knows you here officially. So this site probably doesn't exist officially.
That's true.
So if nobody hears from you, they're not going to know where to look. It seemed like they're threatening to go and find May's sister, the agent, which this has a lot of ties, this episode, to the 2014 Godzilla film. Like a lot, and a big callback to it. The kids basically know nothing still. May seems to be their weak point of the group. I think that's the button they're going to push when the people are discussing things. I'm kind of jumping around here. Tim wants to recruit them, and until the director is like, well, you tried to kidnap them. He's like, mistakes were made. What were you about to say, Andrea?
So many mistakes.
No one is good at their job. No one is.
Yeah.
Like, who's effectively running this department?
They're not good at stopping monsters.
No.
Or capturing them.
Well, they can't really stop the monsters. That's the other thing. It's like they can't. They keep Shaw, and they decide they're going to put the kids. They're going to let them go on a long leash and basically trail them. And how they don't know they're being trailed, I don't know. They give you your phone. They give you phones. They give you new passports and some money and a plane ticket, and just, oh, you're free to go now, knowing damn well they're going to get tailed the whole time.
And that's something that it's funny that you bring that up because I feel like May, of all characters, will be the one to be a little apprehensive of that.
True, but she has nowhere to go.
Well, she tried to go straight back to Japan. She
was ready to.
She
was ready to go.
She was like, "I'm done.
Get out of here.
I'm not invested in this. You're is not good enough to get me
The brother and sisters are. This is personal. This is family."
And she also had, but even when she said that, she didn't sound confident. When Kentaro presses her, well, you're just gonna leave, and she's like, "I'm gonna go back. I got stuff to do. I'm leaving." Like. She really has no, because her spot was blown up. I don't think she really has a place to go. Like,
but like, I feel like going back home would have been the smart move because then you could have, because they're expecting you to continue to go and solve the mystery. Yeah. And I'm gonna be super honest. You took me to a whole other country. I was attacked by some random Titan thing. My leg I was almost died of hypothermia. We're not even together. I barely like you. I don't like your sister. What am I doing here?
I think she does.
I think she does. I think her.
They're growing on each other.
But I don't blame her. Like, I'm surprised she's not fighting Kentaro. That's his name.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's not fighting him every episode. Like, I just feel like I'd be ready to square up every like. You brought me here. I almost died.
That's because of you.
I almost died because of you.
I almost
Nobody
died.
told you to go, man.
You ran away.
Yeah.
Like, why did you bring this onto my doorstep? I am not your strongest soldier.
Yeah. And Kate, she's finally recognizing she needs others because she's the one trying to hold May. Like, you probably have a backup, don't you? We need you. You can't leave. And she's finally sometimes getting some sense about her where she sees that others may be able to fill in where she's kind of lacking, but she's still kind of, for a science teacher, seems kind of dumb.
Everyone was so dumb in that whole section. Everyone was so stupid. I was just like, the whole time watching it, I was just like, these babies are not spies. They're not secret agents. They're doing bad. They were singing and stuff.
Yeah, that was. I had my notes. I was like,
all that noise doing Japanese commercials. Like, come on.
Yeah, they picked the weirdest moments to try and bond and have a cute bonding moment.
Singing and stuff. I was like, hold on. Like, I'm like, okay, fine.
First, he grabbed the snacks out the machine. He wanted
to
grab
the loudest snack.
Oh, please.
You didn't grab like cookies or like a brownie or something or like a Twinkie. Those last forever. You grabbed chips. Did you?
Are those Lay's chips radioactive?
Like, I don't know. It might have been like some radioactive Funyuns or something.
Because like the bag is crinkly, that makes noise. The things crack in your mouth, that makes noise.
Kentaro was laying me out. He was laying me out. Like, it just carrying on. It just like ain't nothing happening. It's just like, you know, we just walking out, eating it.
It's like it's his turn to be Kate. He's now on Kate's turn.
Yeah.
It's his turn to treat. It's his turn to be treated like Kate. Like he treated Kate.
Just singing. Oh my god.
But yeah, Monarch gets there and tries to squeeze Shaw after letting the kids go, and he confirms that the kids indeed don't know a damn thing, and he made sure of that. So he's not sure what y'all playing at. Then we go to San Fran, but we skipped over the part where they get to Oakland and have that weird bunker marketing ploy. Like that ain't gonna work.
Oh, you talking about when they go to the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. My ears perked up.
And she was like, the tech bros the only ones that can afford it. Number one, it's not going to protect you from Godzilla if he comes stomping around. That's going to bust. I don't know how you test for strength of bunker versus a Godzilla stomp.
That's a crazy test right there. 20 tons.
Mom, go ahead, Andrea.
I have to say, when they were talking to Shaw, I thought it was a really just great shot when you see him looking at the video that's supposed to be of his past self, but it's really his son.
Agreed.
And it lines up to them like standing in front of each other, and it's like it's his face plus his younger face. I just thought that was a really great shot.
I agree.
Like, I like it.
Yeah. That was cool. And then she comes in, Deputy Director Verdugo says, basically Kentaro had this video. We'd never seen it before from the files. I guess she was trying to hint that maybe they know more than they do. And he's like, no, they don't know nothing. You ain't got nothing to press them for, and you can't press me for information either. But then they get back to Cali, and I guess Mom's got a new boo, ? Shows up to pick them up from the airport. Who's that? Oh, that's James.
It's her mother's coworker.
I thought it was
work friend.
Yeah, work
friend. I thought it was Kate's boyfriend when he first showed up. And I was
thinking that too. You're not
Kate's ex-boyfriend, because she did not seem happy to see him.
Right.
Not at all.
I was like, what's going on?
And let's be super honest. You all were supposed to fit in that front seat, dude. Like you all were not supposed to fit in that front seat. Why?
Hey,
still need that
get in the back.
Like, did the rules go out
with all the stuff they carry?
Can you imagine this tiny window in the back? Someone's back there just
peeking through. Yeah. So James takes them back to FEMA housing, and they have to go to a quarantine zone. And this is one of the big ones where I felt like this was a callback to the 2014 Godzilla film, because the dad whose wife died, and whenever the Muto, whatever it was that was in the atomic plant, blows up the plant. Remember his old house in Japan in Jinjura was in a quarantine zone that he got arrested for going back to try and get his discs from his computer when the son, who is in the Navy, got called by the embassy to go get him out of lockup. And here they are. We find out that they're going to do the same thing. And I knew Mom had an idea of kind of what was going on, but couldn't confirm, and that's why she sent Kate. But we get some more clarification.
That was a rough scene. That was rough.
Yeah, that whole scene was just.
She yelled at him. I was like, oh, she's looking at Kentaro like that's Hiroshi. I'm like,
yeah,
it's messy.
It was so rough because like the mom's so excited to see, oh, you made friends, and she's like, no, this is his last name, Rhonda.
Oh yeah, that was crazy how Kate said that, but like, this is Kentaro Rhonda. Like, what?
And it's like it was everything the mom feared getting answered in one moment. But it was like this shows the difference in the marriages between the families because Ken's mom still like loved his father. Like even after he found out, she didn't really treat Kate any differently. She was like treating her like her own daughter. And Kate's mom's like, don't touch it. like very much like, if he comes back, we will not be getting back together. That's what Kate's mom gives me that.
You got some explaining to do. But basically, her sending Kate off was her way of helping her kind of grieve because it sounds like Kate had gone into some crazy state where she was just folding in on herself and wasn't wanting to deal with life and wasting away. So she's like, look, let me give you something to do, and I need some answers on top of that. Go see what's up with your daddy because we think he died, and go settle his affairs out there. And by the way, tell me what you find. That kind of thing. But I'm not going myself.
I was so mad at her for that. Like, she was in a rough spot.
That was messed up.
And then you sent her to possibly answer. Like, I'm
more trauma.
Yes, thank you. Like literally, her going to Japan was like more trauma. Like her having to like go through that bunker or having them wait out in like that subway station, and like her dealing with PTSD. I was like, that's messed up, Mom. She did
Mom said you don't have enough. You just
you don't have enough struggle.
Like
trauma.
Because like episode 1, we think Kate is this very strong, well put together, like type A girl, whatever, the way that she's handling everything. And this episode, we find out that she was literally wasting away in her bedroom. And like the only reason she was in Japan is because her mom was like, I need you to do this. Yeah. And it's like, oh no, this girl is barely holding together by a thread. She is nowhere near as strong as episode 1 and 2 made us think that she is. And then you find like her brother and May. I keep forgetting her name. May. Finding out that, oh, this girl was like a bed sore 2 days ago before she came to Japan, and now like she's doing all these things. Like, oh, she was not holding it together at all. No wonder she is the way that she is.
And she's dumb, and she don't believe fat meat's greasy because she keeps like, you almost get killed by the Titan in Alaska. Your mom tells you it's a quarantine zone. Some people get shot. She's like, oh, great. That means people are getting in. We can go in with them. Like, did you not? You skipped over the whole getting shot thing?
So good.
It's like you don't get to be mad at. Well, yeah, you do get to be mad at her for like making her for her making you do that, but you don't get revenge by putting yourself in danger. Yeah. Like, how does you dying prove anything to your mother? Like,
I mean, I don't know if y'all saw Godzilla -1 yet.
No.
Oh, I did. Oh,
I've not.
A great film.
She could. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but based on what we know now about her and how she was feeling prior to all this, she could be cool with dying. She could be cool with just like, I could go.
I don't care no more. I don't care about life.
Okay.
Yeah, I like how you slid that in there, Jocelyn. Good parallel draw there.
So then we get to moms basically bribing their way in to send them in because they retrieve mementos and familial like heirlooms or whatever things they left behind in the aftermath. That's her way in. They bribe their way.
Making money, right?
Yeah, I think they are probably making
crazy.
Money doing that.
I was like, this is a wild world we live in.
And as we already kind of previously hinted at, they almost get caught. Kentaro's singing Japanese commercial songs and eating snacks. And then as they sing, they walk right into a patrol. And almost good luck there were squatters in the tunnels that kind of took the fall for them and gave them a way out. And then we have Kate with another PTSD panic attack.
Yeah.
Kentaro luckily finds a way out, and May walks her through her panic attack enough for her to get up and keep moving. They eventually find the office, and I like this scene when they find the office because I feel like the roles of Kate and Kentaro were switched on the opposite ends. Because when they go into Hiroshi's Japanese, the office in Japan, Kate's the one that finds the safe behind the map. Kentaro thinks the same thing is going to happen here, so he immediately tears down the map in the office in San Francisco. It's not there, but he's the one that kind of figures out the layout of the office and the light coming through, and it pinpoints and they find the pattern of where Hiroshi's been traveling based on if the map were still up on the wall. So I was thinking that was kind of cool that they were like Kentaro was the one that got the clue this time.
Yeah.
They didn't have phones, right?
They what?
They didn't have phones anymore at this point, right? Like cell phones?
No, they remember they got phones from Monarch.
Okay.
What are you?
I don't know if they took them with
What are you
them.
thinking, Jocelyn? What are you thinking?
They
Because
can be tracked. Yeah.
well, my thought process was like, all right, he ripped off the map off the wall, and that frustrated me because I was like, why don't you take a picture first of all the pins he had up on the map? Maybe that's important. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And he ripped it all off with all the pins. I was like, why would you do this? All right. And then, all right, he did what he was doing, and that was cool, with the lights and stuff on the map. And I was like, that's great. Let's take a picture. No one took any pictures.
No, he did not.
There was no documentation. They forgot about that because they had to go.
Like it was in the one in Japan, and Rod, you're right. Like in Japan, you needed more like logical, like a logical brain to figure out the code, the password for the safe. Which was the daughter because she was a science teacher. She like asked her father all this science stuff, and then the one in San Francisco, you needed art to figure it out. And it went back to his first art show. And so it was very interesting that he used the strengths of two of his kids in the opposite city they lived in.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's still, he's not absolved.
No,
he still needs his ass.
I absolve him only because history dictated there should have been a safe behind there. So like I understand if this was like the first one they ever went into, then yes, no, you don't just rip the map off. But because in the other one it was the safe was behind another map and that map didn't mean anything, I can understand him thinking this map didn't mean anything.
Fair enough. Like it's I don't fault him for ripping.
I'll half absolve him.
Yeah.
How did y'all feel about the flashback showing Kate being a cheater?
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Kate, I liked you up to that point.
It's very interesting that Kate is like. So there was two things happening. It was very interesting that Kate, when Kate is like mad at her brother, he like, I'm gonna go find a way out. I like the parallel between she sees her father in Kentaro in that moment, and she starts screaming, "Dad!"
Well, he says you're gonna be okay, which is
going
exactly
back to that
what
memory.
The dad says.
Exactly, Dad. So anyway, that happened. But it's funny that like we go back to the flashback and she's like cheating on her girlfriend with somebody else. I'm like, somebody's just like their daddy.
Yep. I was like,
hereditary. Hereditary. So I was like impressive. So like these like for a show, because I know I haven't been here for a while, but it's like this show doesn't give me enough Titans. I wish there were a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I feel like there are more like the characters are relatable. At least with Kate's story, I'm very much interested in like her, and then also just the dynamic between the characters. So they kind of work.
And we didn't get any 50s flashbacks this episode.
No,
yeah.
You don't like those?
I don't.
I mean, that's where you would have gotten more. You would have gotten more Titans.
Yeah. We got Godzilla getting fed a nuclear snack that one episode. But that was light work. That was light work.
Well, I feel like this. So I feel like for the show, it's not Titan focused. Like it is, but it's more of like the history of what is the big mystery of Monarch,
Yeah.
like the history of that. What is the big mystery of that? And then also, where's her father? I feel like that's sort of premise. And like Titans are like the subplot to it. So only because it's like we still have a couple more episodes. Because I was expecting Titans every single episode as well, and then I was like, oh wait, this is more of a like. Let's sit down and learn together, everyone, about the history and the craft of Monarch.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, like I had to change my brain to think that way because at first I was like, hold up, don't let this be like the movie. Where's Godzilla? Don't give us a 2-hour long movie and only 14 minutes of Godzilla. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's very much, I hear you, Dad.
Yeah.
Though I will say, Kate, I understand why she has PTSD. But going back to
all that makes sense
about her father, at least it's really interesting that I feel like Ken's mom had no idea, was completely blindsided whatsoever, because like they had the whole like reverence thing for him on the like mantle place.
Yeah, the shrine,
then, like,
the shrine in the house.
Yeah, and then like Kate's mom is sort of just like, why do you think I sent you to Japan? And so I feel like Kate, with the people she was dating, I feel like the girl that she woke up in bed with was probably like Ken's mom, like, oh, I'm just happy to be here. And then the one at the school who's like sort of pushing their relationship was like, didn't you learn from last time? Is like more like Kate's mom, like you're wanting to see something that's like you know that there's something wrong, but you just won't. You think if we move in together, it's going to get fixed, and it's not.
Yeah, it's interesting dynamic. They flip briefly back to Verdugo, and you see her trying to play nice with Shaw this time. They eating good. She took the little handcuffs off of him, trying to pump for information. But that was real brief, and then we go right back to the kids in San Fran, and now they was it just me or did they get back really easily? Like all this drama they kind of went through to kind of sneak in, and then the next morning it seemed really easy from the I was mom's waiting there by the truck, and they just get in. And there's no more security was real lax during the day, so apparently really most movement must be at night.
I kept thinking that like I don't know, it must have took him at least 3 hours just to even get to his office, like through the night. And so I was like, they had to dodge all that security. So like how, I mean, I understand if it's not important to the plot to show how they got back fine.
That's what I was gonna say.
But I was just, I was like, how?
Had they gotten caught, it would have made this. It would have. I feel like that would have made this a little more interesting. Like we kind of get diverted from our path. You know, they get diverted from that mission. That would have that would actually created a nice conflict. But no, they made away very easily. They got back to.
I just thought it was because it was daytime, so they could see better.
They could dodge they were doing the light. One could also argue they lessened patrols because it was daytime.
Because like I guess you won't expect people to like you have to move slowly because one, you can't see where you're going at night. You're using the flashlights, and you're like, let me go ahead and see if the patrols are there. But like in the daytime, it's like, oh look, they're 2 blocks that way. Let's go this way. Like,
good evening, Hash.
Daytime and they could see.
Yeah, I also felt like I was getting frustrated during that scene when they're sneaking through the city at night too. Because at some point I would cut my flashlights off because it's also letting people know directly where you are. Like,
oh look, there's a light. Let's follow it. Pinpoint.
Moving around in the dark. Just sit still. Cut the light off real quick.
I was just so confused. I was like, why is everyone so stupid? Like, why are we being so?
Thank God for a bag of chips and some cats.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ken was trying to be her brother in this scene, and he
really was.
So I feel like he was just doing that. He was doing more things to seem more to like be a fun friend for her, like an actual little brother to her, only because like he actually heard what her mom said, and like you saw how much that affected him hearing how bad she was, and she was like, well, I saw all my kids die on a bus, and I like you didn't see what I went through. And so I guess he's like actually seeing her like, oh my God, you're a real person. You watch people die in front of you. Like, yeah, we have drills in Japan, but like you did it. Like you actually dealt with it. And he's like, okay, let me not be an a-hole to her right now. Let me actually just be her little brother. Because I'm thinking she's older. I'm assuming she's older.
His response is very much.
he's giving like, I'm trying to make you feel a little bit better
He is
because
some younger brother.
Yeah.
You want some chips in the song?
It was dumb.
These commercials.
I feel like
it's
he was
also-
trying to be her little brother in this scene because it was just like, you're hurting, honey. Let me give you a hug.
And
I
it's
don't
also
wanna
the
hug you
first
so
time that he sees the actual physical evidence that something truly happened. Because remember, some people in Japan think it's a hoax
Yeah.
That's what's
that
wild
they
to
did
me
with
in this
CGI.
world.
So when he looks at the aftermath, he's like, how can anyone see this and think that this was a hoax? And we see that Kate also, in addition to the horror of what she saw witnessing Godzilla, I think she has a lot of survivor's guilt since she feels like she abandoned the kids that fell off the bridge. And like I said, we watched Godzilla this past weekend again to kind of refresh our memories. Can we confirm, was her bus driver black? Because the brother in the Godzilla film seemed like the first bus that took off before Godzilla came across the bridge. That was the only bus I think that made it. And it was because the brother was like, we ain't stopping for this. The gas and burn. He hauled ass off across the bridge and got through. And I was like, maybe if Kate's bus driver would have been different, they might have survived.
Like, look, we ain't got time for that. Why are we going to stop and stare at the thing trying to kill us? Go.
It's Godzilla, y'all. We running.
Yeah, they stopped and said the tanks came up on the bridge and started shooting at Godzilla, and Brother Man was like, no, we're not doing this.
I have to say, it made it like even worse to like know she goes to school that day and it's like, oh, where's all the kids? Like, oh, our parents were afraid of what's going on. And some kids like, oh, it's a hoax. And she's like, yeah, it's definitely a hoax. And
Yeah,
was
she
like,
was
we're
goofy.
monitoring this like very closely. And like she got on the bus. She didn't have to. She went with them. And did any kids get off the bus with her, or did only she get off? I can't remember from
a few of them got off with her.
I would have gotten off. The moment I saw that thing come up, I would have gotten off and started running back towards land, because that's the one thing about being on a bridge. If there is something that's going to attack the bridge and there's too many cars for me to drive, we're just running. We're running. Like, no waiting, no, let's see what happens. Nah, y'all can get the bus later. Run. Knees to chest, people. Knees to chest. Let's go. Let's go.
I also thought it was funny that the part you just mentioned, Andrea, where the kid, when they have their phones in the classroom, and he says, yeah, my dad says it's a hoax to stop the real estate balloon. And then Kate immediately is like, yeah, I think your dad might be right, Chad. We can't always believe what's on the internet. And then immediately after she says that, another teacher walks in and like, this is not a drill. Make sure they have their family reunion drills and information right. It's going down. I was like, oh. As soon as you make that statement, it's like, no, this is not a hoax, buddy. This is not a drill. It might be going down.
And you see her getting scared for the first time, like, oh. And then it's sort of like sad, but like I almost felt bad for the other teacher who was just like, you could stay with me. And she's like, no, I'm going to go with the kids. Like, knowing this is a chance you may never actually see her again, or you don't know if you're going to see her again because you're evacuating, you're going to the BART station. Like, these things are huge. They're destroying land. And she chose to not stay with you. It's like, oh, you really are your father's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone needed you, and just like your father left you.
And she even said something to her like, we were good together. You just don't like good. Like I was like, damn.
Self-sabotage.
And so that means, like, where did all of this come from? If you thought your parents were happy before then, where did all of this come from? Who hurt you?
She knew something was off. I mean, her dad constantly leaving. Go on trips.
Papa was a Rolling Stone for real.
Neglect.
Daughter was a Rolling Stone.
And the end of this episode was the most disappointing to me, mainly because May snitches. Like, she lets them have their little moment. She talks to Kentaro. She's coaching him on what to do on the phone because he's going to call his moms. And he's like, keep it vague, keep it brief and nondescript. And then she immediately goes around the corner and is like, what I got to do to go home? I'm ready.
She said, I'm tired. I'm tired.
You know what's really funny? I wanted to make a joke and say that she was a magical Negro earlier, but she's in fact not. She snitched on everyone. She chose herself.
I am going to go on record. I could be very wrong, or I could be very right. But let it be said, at this time, on this day, on this podcast,
at 7:30,
I think May is going to try and play Monarch. I feel like I feel like we're not gonna see her tell Kate and Ken that she's like working with Monarch on the side. I feel like it's all gonna come to a head, and there's gonna be like a flashback episode to her sitting Kate and Ken down. It's like, look, I'm letting them think that I'm betraying them, and like we're just gonna have to play the parts. I feel like she's too smart to trust them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because I feel like at this point it could go either way, where she's either on Monarch's side only or she's doing some agent type stuff. Because at this point, I feel like she really doesn't owe Kentaro and Kate anything.
She doesn't.
So she really could take them or leave them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame her. Like she been through hell and high water with these folk for somebody who she was in a situationship with. All right, and
they were in a situation.
She should just leave. She should be like, nah, I'm not doing this.
Right.
Snitches get stitches, man.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I think.
I know. Yeah.
Don't let her play you too.
She's not playing me.
Don't let her play
I
you
am
too.
I'm thinking the way plots go that she's not actually going to betray them. Yeah. That is going to seem like it to us, but it's not going to be to them, because I feel like she may not owe them anything, but I feel like she's like, I'm not going to let Monarch play you. Like, I'm not going to betray you. I'm going to play Monarch to get myself out of this.
Very optimistic.
And Andrea, you weren't here for the initial discussions, and Jordan, you weren't either.
I was here for one.
For one, yeah. I think she's shady because of her past, or whatever, her hacker.
Yeah, she's a hacker.
Her hacker, whatever her persona that she's been doing, and the reason why she has the multiple passports, and one, I think it's her sister's passport, which the agent from Monarch caught on to, because she said something like, that picture doesn't quite look like you, so I don't know what name to call you. When she was saying, she kind of bribed her, like, we could name the new Titan after you because y'all discovered it, but I don't know which name to use because you've got multiple names with multiple passports. So I think she's choosing Team May, and I think she's trying to also protect her sister from getting involved, which is why she threw her phone out the boat when they were coming over from to Korea from Japan. So I think she's her own agent. I just think she's shady, and that's why she's also so distrustful, rightfully so in a lot of times, though, of everybody and anything.
Well, on that note, because that is a very valid point, on that note, is she shady, or is she just being a person who's looking out for herself?
I mean, I feel like
she didn't insert herself into this. She tried to leave, and they kept her. So it'd be different. I feel like it'd be shady if they were like, May, you can go home. She's like, oh no, I'm going to stay. And then she's trying to betray them. She was trying to leave, and then they brought her into this. And I feel like she's, by that stance, I still think she's not going to betray them. I still think that she's going to tell them. But I'm just saying, I think, is it really shady, or is it then she's just Team May?
I think she's already shady before being in that situation, and now that you put her in the situation, the screws are tightening up on her.
Yeah.
So is she shady? Is she shady by default because of the nature of her being a hacker and her having like multiple passports? And
I'm saying she's.
Is that what we're gonna say?
I am agree. No, that's what y'all gonna say.
I'm asking Rod. I'm asking Rod to verify
that she is a shady person, but in this instance, she's not being shady because
she's technically being shady by betraying them, though.
We don't know that. We'll know at the next episode if she's actually betraying
them. What do
you
mean? But
she's just saying, "How do I go home?" Does not mean.
I mean,
but like she could literally.
That implies she's gonna give them some information.
Opening of episode 5 could literally be. So, guys, I spoke to them. They said this is what we have to do to get home. And then it's not shady. So I'm just saying, in this instance, I'm not sure if she. I'm not saying she's not a shady person. I'm saying in this instance, I don't think she's being shady.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean,
she's shady.
We'll see. I mean, I feel like in either instance of her being shady or not, like, I guess it makes sense for both of those scenarios where she would go around the corner to make that call and not make that call in front of them.
In front of somebody, yeah.
So we'll see. I think it's interesting. My point still stands. I think it's interesting to keep it as Like, we really don't know where May's allegiance is going to land at the end of the day.
That's true.
Yeah. I think
I'm thinking it's going to be her.
Oh, she's definitely going to look out for her.
Mhm.
If May going to do anything, she's going to look out for her. She's going to be number one. I'm just saying I don't know who's going to like be number two. I'm hoping Kate and Ken would be number two. But
oh my God, what if it's a crazy reveal at the end where, lo and behold, she's teamed up with the daddy the whole time somehow?
She knows Hiroshi. She's Hiroshi's apprentice.
No, because if that happens, I could not. There's really much. There's almost nothing
make that show
you could do that could make me not Team May, because like she did not search out for Ken. She didn't like, hey, oh, you have this random thing. Let me help you with this. Like, this dude brought her in, and she consistently tried to walk away, and she kept being brought back in. So that is why I'm not calling her shady, because she keeps trying to run, and then she keeps trying, like, she should just run, because that's like, why do I want to keep going into dangerous situations? But I have to say another point before we like go past this. When Kate was talking to her mother, and her mom resubmitted, I was fine with having a part-time husband, and I allowed you to have a part-time dad and all that stuff. Again, goes to show me that I was wrong, Rod. From episode 1, I'm admitting that she did know something. She knew something was up. She didn't know exactly, but she was fine with whatever it was. But now I need to know, did Ken's mom know more? Because again, the way that his mom acts, it doesn't scream I had any idea.
And I think that may be a cultural thing where she didn't know, but she may figure she old school, like, man's gonna do what a man's gonna do. So I figured you was off doing something, and that's just par for the course. So we just gonna accept it. And why don't you have her come on in here and have some tea? Get your little sister over here. And Kentara's like, no, what are you doing?
Be mad, Mom.
Be mad with me.
Hey, it's funny that both the kids want their moms to be angrier.
Yeah, like, help that man out. Like,
lay him. I want both of you to be in a room with him and surprise, and you get like a surprise black eye for
they
both.
Start socking them from all sides, just getting it from all sides.
That's all I want.
They gonna jump Hiroshi?
Yeah.
Yes. But
work them out.
We see that Kate's mom has someone waiting for her.
Yeah, to be ready.
And I will admit, I respect the fact of not dating before you're ready, because like if she's still very much hung up on her husband. And now finding out that he's not dead after she thought he was, it's like, okay, I don't want to hurt this guy by being with him before I'm ready to be with him and like actually, be with him. And now this monkey wrench. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Now, after knowing what we know now I'm kind of side-eyeing the mom. I'm like, Mom, you're just a non-committal lady. You're just a non-committal lady.
She had no chance.
No,
her parents were like horrible in relationships. They did not give her a good foundation.
I'm like, you don't let that man go talking about something he's waiting for you to be. You're not gonna be ready. You weren't ready when he was here. Barely. Not even.
Did anyone think that Monarch had Hiroshi Randa when homie asked, what are we gonna do with him? Talking about Shaw. I don't know. No, they don't. I didn't think that. I didn't think they had Hiroshi stashed away when they were looking like, what are we gonna do with him? I think they kept Shaw mainly because he's a real threat and might have a thread that they could follow.
Also,
he's an OG.
He's like super old.
Yeah.
He's 90 and he looks that way, and they don't know why he looks that way.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten an answer to how homie's looking like that, looking like he's 60-something in his 90s.
I think they didn't do enough job.
Tim doesn't know.
Do a good enough job on the prosthetics.
Oh, girl got mad. She's like, you better not tell me that it's in the files. And then Tim's like, it probably is.
Because like, yeah, he's supposed to be a lot older.
He's supposed to look like Chris Evans at the end of
But they think him. My guess is that Hiroshi is in the tunnels that like circle under the earth or something like that. Like he's somewhere like in the underground thingy that we saw in the other.
Oh, you're talking about the Hollow Earth?
Yeah,
the connection. The
that
other
is
film.
my guess that
Well,
he's down there.
I mean, it's a
Well, I
good.
think that's what the when you saw the northern lights popping out of Alaska out of the ground,
I
I
want
think
to.
that might be energy from the hollow earth that they see and where these titans are around. I think we're going to see more of the lights coming out of the ground, and that may be
Because
part of the
were
hollow earth.
those like kind of those? Were those also? You know how Hiroshi kind of had those different points on the map. Would those? I was wondering if those pockets of light were those points.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was assuming. So I don't
Either
know.
they're pockets of light or they might be instances where they had incidents. Because you have the
Like where they
Gingera where
protect
the
stuff.
thing happened. There's one that they found now in Africa. Um, the Godzilla sighting, San Francisco, all those points are, I think, where they were tracking the movements of the Titans.
Yep.
And they're attracted to the radiation from various nuclear plants and craters and emergency. Yeah, emergency points. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's probably what it is, where they had incidents and they're keeping track. I
I
still
wonder.
don't know how back in the 40s and 50s, like everybody just couldn't see this stuff popping out of land and water. No one could, no one reported on.
So the indigenous people all knew, but
Yeah,
it was
that's
the
all.
westernized people who are like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. That's old wives' tale. And
Y'all
it's like,
making stuff up.
no, the dude's down the street, like he big as a house. Like, do you not see that? And they're just
Yeah,
like, y'all, that's just an old wives' tale. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Like,
or a whole ass Navy ship disappears and just pops up in the
Right.
Philippines somewhere on land with no
Like that's
water
not
around.
strange
Like
to you. That's not strange.
there
That's
must
not
have been a
suspicious.
huge tsunami that was not recorded. What? It just took the ship there.
crazy.
I
So how's
wonder.
everybody feeling so far? Now that I think we're at the halfway point
I
about the
need to
show.
watch all the episodes because I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
interested. I'm curious for whenever Hiroshi gets revealed. I wonder, just because, um, what's the old man name?
Shaw?
Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he looks young but is old. I wonder if the Hiroshi reveal, if he's gonna be like super young, like maybe younger than we saw him in all the flashbacks.
Mm.
Like I'm curious if there's gonna be some age regression with him as well.
I wonder if Shaw met Hiroshi.
He did. He said that was like a
Yeah.
son to him in like
Yeah.
episode
Because
2.
he's like, oh, you're Bill's boy or something like that.
So wait, Shaw met Hiroshi?
Yeah, he said that was like his. He was like that. He was like a son
More
to
like
him.
a son to me, he said.
Yeah. So he knows him
Yeah.
because he knew
He's the
he knew
son.
about
Bill
the
and
son.
Keiko.
He didn't know about the daughter, right?
Yeah, he didn't know about the daughter. He knew because he knew, of course, he was running around with Bill and Keiko, so he knew about Hiroshi. He did say, in fact, I didn't know Hiroshi had a daughter. He didn't. Yeah, he didn't know about Kate.
Yeah. And apparently, it's been between decades before he tried to escape. So a lot of time has passed since he's been locked up. He's been locked up for at least multiple decades.
Yeah,
Multiple,
he got good
multiple.
at bocce ball. He just kicked back at the old folks' home and got good at games. This show is so good. I want to see the father alive. I bet they going
They
to
better
leave it for the
not.
final episode.
I hope
They
not.
better not.
Yeah.
They better not.
I
I need
need
to
at
see him
least
soon.
2 episodes prior to the final episode.
I need him begging. I need both Ken and Kate to be like,
Wait, 7's the last one.
No, it's 10. I think it's 10
Oh,
episodes.
10? Oh.
Jordan, what do you think about the show so far?
Um. I said it early. Not enough Titans, but I understand the show's not supposed to be about them. But I could make an argument to say that, like, at times I find myself being bored with this. I don't know if it's like not enough like action or like intense stakes. Um, but I feel like the one of the saving factors of the show, like I mentioned earlier, is kind of the relationship, like the realism of like the character. Most of the characters are very realistic, especially with Kate and how she's dealing with her trauma. And I think that was initially when I watched this, it was one of the things that like just kind of kept me interested was the idea of like looking at the trauma of like civilians and how they're experiencing the aftermath of like Godzilla, because we don't ever really think about that. So that was very interesting. But now I'm just like, all right, can we just see where this is going? And I'm still trying to like, and then it's also like with the time jumping aspect of like seeing like Lee and what's the sign's name? Is it Mariah? What's her name?
Keiko.
Keiko. Um, there, I'm trying to figure out like where that's going.
Yeah.
Their relationship. And Monarch seems, I don't know. Monarch just seems useless. I'm really.
I agree.
This is like a very dumb, shadowy organization. Like y'all not really.
They
and that's
seem more
also
corrupt now than they should be.
I think they evolve is what ends up happening because we see the army actually given their initial funding, and eventually they're just going to be this big waste when initially they were out there trying to do good, and now they just become bloated and not doing much of anything.
Like if we even look at Monarch from like Godzilla King of Monsters, like they at least, I mean, we got a lot more of like what they were capable of. Like they clearly had who they knew where King Ghidorah was, and like they, they were, they had that one character, the scientist who made that device that could control them. We just, I don't know, we had a lot going with that movie. That was probably one of my favorite movies out of the franchise. But so I'm just here trying to get to the end and see where Hiroshi is.
What about you, Jocelyn? What do you think so far?
I think that the drama is very interesting and funny.
I gotta laugh at it more too, I guess, Jocelyn. I gotta look at it.
Just because some parts of like how these characters interact, like a part of it is realistic, but then a part of it is also like not realistic, and it'd be cracking me up when it's not realistic. I definitely feel like we could, of course, do with like more Titan presence of some kind in each episode. But I like you said, Jordan, that's not the entire point of this show. I like it. I like it. Like it feels realistic, but also kind of just not. I think it's a fun watch. So,
yeah. Good. I've enjoyed it so far. I do feel like at times the plot armor is strong with some of the characters because I know they're not going to do it, but it would be kind of refreshing if the dumbness bites somebody in the butt in a real way at some point.
I agree with that. I like that.
And then you see the aftermath of it may be a kick in the butt to the other characters. Like, oh, we can't move like this now that we done lost somebody real that was a part of this crew, and because they were being dumb, like we can't do that no more. We're not dealing with, like, the Titans not police. We can't skirt our way around this normal problem. It's not a normal ass problem. It's big ass monster get you. Monarch don't seem to have a direction. Why is the deputy director? Did I miss who is it? We don't know who's at the top because we see during their kind of pseudo interrogation, Shaw asked her, how's it feel to be at the almost top? So we know there's people above her running things, and he feels like they're wrong and moving in the wrong direction and doing things that are messed up. So we don't, she's not at the top. She's the deputy director, but there must be a director over her, but we haven't been introduced to them yet. So we'll see. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to chop it up with us, and the 6 or 7 viewers, Monica, Kitchen Sink, Big Jarv, and Hash. And I think we had a couple other lurkers that commented and popped in. Thank you guys for checking us out. We'll be back next week to talk episode 6. I guess we'll get to see what happens. 6. We'll see what happens, and we will talk to you all next Monday. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Yeah.